You looked like you were right in that test match for quite a while, and then things just fell to pieces.
Yeah, obviously we had a good day yesterday, and then a session and a half today, maybe 2 sessions that we clawed our way back. I would say potentially maybe 2 sessions apiece, so even. But at the end of the day, way too many wickets down. But obviously still in it.
You talked at the guys that talked to the lead up, both Craig and Azari talked about bowling fuller and being disciplined with the ball. It looked like the guys did that so well throughout the day. You must have been really pleased with that. But what happened with Head in terms of it seemed like there was a shift in tactic bowling to him and he got away as a result?
I think originally the plan to Head was to pretty much go short at him up front, and then plan B was pretty much to come back into him, shut him down, which we did most of the time. But by the time he was set, bowlers jaded. But I thought we stuck to the plans as best as we could. But generally they worked well. The plan is quite simple: bowl out Australia in less than 90 overs. We never had a target in mind, but just within 90 overs, because we believe that if we were disciplined, we would bowl them out for a manageable total that we could chase them.
Can you give some thoughts on Shamar Joseph's performance on the debut? How is this what you expected from him, or is it beyond your expectations? How good was he?
I believe his performance will speak for themselves. You know, I'm sure you'd have enjoyed interviewing him as well. The passion that he has brought, pretty much what you see, what you get. We took him to South Africa earlier. We knew he was inexperienced, but he had pace. You know, he had a natural ability to work to a plan and be consistent, be disciplined around it, and he's done that. On the back of that 18 tour, he was fantastic. He got most wickets on that tour, and he's shown what he's capable of in his first test match.
What about the batting? What are the main lessons do you think you're going to take out of this test?
I think the pitches here have been very good, very different to back home. So our intent to score has always been evident, but that has to be matched with decision making. Here, a lot more bounce potentially. The ability to leave the ball more consistently has to be part of your repertoire, your approach. You know, but generally, I thought that our intent was pretty good. Our decision making was questionable on occasions.
Just on that, like, what's the kind of feedback you are getting from these youngsters? I mean, the step up that they've had to make, probably quicker than they expected for it to happen to test for you.
Well, I mean, to be honest, the learning curve has been pretty steep for some of them. But if they were to sit back, and some of the feedback has been, you know, it hasn't been tremendously difficult. It has been testing. I think the challenge has pretty much been the consistency of the bowlers. Obviously, a wealth of experience in that Australian bowling attack. So their ability to stay patient, you know, and there were times where our batters played quite well. I thought we played really well down the ground, in particular, when we got the ball pretty straight and full. And if there was any width on offer, we capitalised on that as well, but that was very rare. So, you know, as I said before, the ability to maintain that intent, but not necessarily going or searching for it. I think that is where we are found wanting in the batting area so far.
The fact that only Kirk and Trav have made 50 on this pitch to underscore how difficult batting is on that surface?
Based on what I've seen, not much difficulty batting on the pitch. We saw from both bowling attacks. If you remain disciplined, then obviously, you know, your defense will be tested. But whenever the ball was offline and you're committed to the shot, we saw that the ball travelled pretty well to the boundary. So there's runs to be scored on the pitch. But I thought that both bowling attacks showed real discipline and never served up a lot.
Just one final thing, as coach, like, how difficult is it, like, you get one red ball test and all the learning curve you spoke about, all the lessons, that's it. I mean, then you move on to a pink ball test, and, like, when you just have 2 tests to play with a young team or a senior team, like, what are the challenges you face as a coach when you just have that much of the answer?
In this instance, I don't believe the colour of the ball really matters. What the challenge is really is the number of tests that we do play. So generally, outside of a test series against England, we generally play 2 test match series. And then if you look at it, our schedule is set up over the next 2 years. In some instances, the test series is 6 months apart. So there's not a lot in between. So it's really about us trying to fill the gap in some instances where we can, maybe with other bilateral tours, or potentially looking to fit in 18 tours that could help to improve that exposure or increase the exposure that the players have.
There's going to be, if there's not already, a lot of franchise interest in a player like Shamar. Is West Indies cricket strong enough to keep a player like that?
I believe a lot of the international teams face a similar challenge. Our situation is that financially we aren't secure enough to be able to offer substantial central contracts, and that is always going to be a challenge for us. And what we have tried to do in the last maybe 6 to 12 months is really have more conversations with the players to be able to work out windows where we can have our best players available. But I believe this is something that is widespread already, and will become more of a challenge, but more so for countries who potentially aren't financially viable and don't play a lot of test cricket.